Welcome back, y'all. Today is a French show. I'm reliving my visit to Paris, and it was fabulous. And I think there's one thing that Michael Groover and I both agree on, that onion soup is probably one of our favorites. And that's what I'm going to be making today. Now, I'm taking about 8 onions, and I'm slicing them very thin. And I'm going to add them to the pot, and about a fourth or a third of a cup of oil's already in that pot. And I'm going to caramelize these onions down, which will take us about 20 minutes to do that. But you'll want to cut your onions rather on the thin side, not have real thick pieces of onion. In fact, I've got a pot over here where I've already caramelized the onions, so we're ready to go with this soup. And you can see how these onions really cook down a lot. All right, now I'm going to add 8 cups of a nice beef stock. Now this can be a homemade beef stock or it can be a canned. And to this pot now, I'm going to add a couple of cloves of minced garlic. I'm going to add a bay leaf. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of dried thyme, and I'm going to add a fourth of a cup of white wine, a little fresh ground pepper, and a little salt. Now, you'll want to be careful with your salt because if I made a homemade stock, it might not be as salty as like a canned stock. And this is where my French onion soup is a little different from most people's. I cooked some short ribs yesterday, and I've got some left over, so I'm going to cut this up in small, small pieces. All right, and I'm going to add this to our broth and our onions. You know, I've still got a few pieces of short rib in here with the bones, so I think I'm just going to throw those down in the pot and just pull that extra flavor off those bones. And then we're going to let that cook for about 20 minutes. In fact, I have a pot ready back here for us. So I'm going to let that cook for about 20 minutes. But in the meantime, let's see what we've got here. Oh, look at the richness of that soup. All right, so our soup's ready to go. I've got a nice loaf of French bread over here, and I'm just going to cut it. So I want this bread to kind of fit that bowl, so I'm going to cut it diagonally so it'll take up more coverage on the top of the soup. And I'm just going to butter this. And there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can do this in the oven. You can do this earlier in the day and then just heat it right back up, or you can do it in a skillet the way I'm fixing to do it. And because of my love of butter, I'm going to butter both sides of my bread. Now, I have chosen for my soup today to cover my French bread with a Gruyere cheese, which I think is what most French cover their soup with. I'm not quite sure on that one, but I do know that over there they love Gruyere and they use a lot of it. But you could also use a stringy mozzarella that would be good. I'm just going to flip these over, toast them real good on both sides. Now I'm going to just reach in here and I'm not going to take out the whole short ribs that were dropped in for the flavor and the richness. Now I'm just going to float our piece of toast on top, and I'm going to cover it with a Gruyere cheese. Just like that. And I like lots of cheese. In fact, I like a little soup with my cheese toast. Now I'm going to just transfer this now under the broiler. Here we go. And this is going to take a steady hand for me to do this because I don't want to slosh out my soup. Whoops, like I just did, y'all. All right, I'm just going to slide that in, and I'm going to watch this very, very closely because I have my crock of soup up pretty high underneath the broiler, and I don't want it to burn. But I promise you, when you come back in about 2 minutes, this soup is gonna be ready and we're gonna taste it and it's just gonna be sensational. Welcome back, y'all. Today is all about French food. And I've got my French onion soup that's ready to come out of the oven. Look at that Gruyere cheese and that buttered French bread. This is gonna be so incredibly delicious. Look. It's so wonderful.
Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.